The lady from Uncle. International Affairs. The lady.
Hi, today I want to take a look at Google account security. So using my Chrome browser, click on the top right hand side into my Google account, where I'm going to concentrate on two fields, personal info and security. But first of all, what do I actually mean with Google account security? I mean two things. I mean protecting your Google account against other people getting access, and also protecting your Google account for your access. So looking at personal info, I'm not going to go on too much about profile, except to say that if you're going to use a pseudonym, as I have done, make sure it is one that you remember, because when Google come and ask you what your first and last name is, you need to know that. But the field that is actually of most interest is the contact info. And I'm going to look at the email one because there is where the most options are. Your Google account email is obvious. It is actually the Google account email address username that you use to sign into your Google account with. Your recovery email is whatever you set up as a recovery email in case you should get locked out or you've forgotten your Google account's email address. Now, the only thing I'm going to say about this further is that your recovery email address does not need to be unique as your Google account email address needs to be. Every Google account has to have a unique email address username, but all Google accounts could use the same recovery email address if you so choose. So as in my case, I have 50 plus unique Google account email address usernames, but I have maybe 2 or 3 recovery email addresses. But it's actually this field here, advanced, which is of the most interest because it is very underutilized, I think, and probably not very well understood. Your contact email address, usually by default, certainly, is your Google account email address username. And this one here is interesting because your alternative email address can be used to reach out to you in case you get locked out from your Google account for some reason. The alternative email address must be unique because it can only be the alternative sign-in email address for one Google account, and that would be, in this case, this one here. So I haven't added one. The About Me email address is something that's slightly more public. It's something that you can share with others, and it would be one that would essentially mask your Google account email address, which I recommend you never actually share. So if you're going to have a YouTube channel, for example, don't share your email, your Google account email address username as your contact email. Make sure to set up something sort of different. And that's just basic security. What hasn't been mentioned here is a historically associated email address. So let's say, for example, I started this Google account as also not really TLFU's email at yahoo.com, and I then decided, you know what, I actually want to use Gmail. I don't want to use this particular Yahoo email address for this particular Google account in any shape or form, and then I remove the Yahoo email address after adding Gmail. That Yahoo email address would still be a historically associated email address. And so if I ever needed to verify myself and I'm asked to supply an associated or a contact email, I could use that in the event that I perhaps don't have access to my recovery email or my contact email or about me email or even my alternative email. So that's just another email address that I could supply in as an associated email address, historically associated email address. So going back to the previous page, I'm going to have a look at security. On the security page, we look down at the bottom where we have the ways that Google can verify that it is me, my phone number, and the previously discussed recovery email address. But we also have these options here called signing into Google and two-step verification. Now, I want to say something about two-step verification because one thinks of two-step verification as being securing the Google account against unauthorized access, but there is the additional benefit in that it is possible to authorize a physical key, which is sort of like a physical little USB device that you plug into your laptop or whatever desktop you're using, perhaps when you're not on your usual device, or if you have no access to your other security options, recovery options. And you have the option to generate and download 10 one-use codes, which are really handy. I use them quite a bit when I'm traveling, because while I might know all of my security or my sign-in details, it can happen that because I'm using a different location, I'm using a different device in a new geographical location, I could trigger something called a critical activity alert, and that would lock me out pending me using my verification options. So what happens if I don't have access to any of my Gmails because I'm locked out? And what if my phone is not with me, or it's not charged, or the phone number doesn't work? I can't receive a code for whatever reason. I can use these one-use codes, providing I have them on me. So I certainly would urge you to seriously consider two-step verifications. It's not nearly as inconvenient as users think, because you can actually trust your devices as well after you have set it up. Hopefully this addresses the bare bones of Google account security, both against unauthorized access and to maintain your access. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.